Hey, hockey fans of all ages, shapes, and sizes. Just wanted to do a quick one here on Willie Nylander. What's a good price for him? I think the Leafs are probably pretty happy to see that the Dubois 8-year sign and trade and the Timo Meyer came down. His qualifying offer was 10 million. So for him to go to arbitration, and they signed him for 8.8 mil over 8 years. I think that really helps the case for signing Nylander around that number. I think if the Leafs are really clever and they want to keep Nylander, I've always thought his value is around 10 mil myself. And basically that could be inflated because you look at Marner at 10.9, you look at Matthews, and I think Nylander was the best Leaf, maybe besides Marner. Like Marner was great too, so those two are pretty close in my mind. Like Willie got 40 goals, right? Timo Meyer got 40 goals. Timo Meyer scored 5 goals in one game against LA, which is insane. Matthews did that in like his rookie game, which is totally insane, batshit insane. And yeah, like I think Willie, it's a really interesting one. And like, I think for me, if the Leafs want to play on the vanity number, like the Crosby thing, and say, hey, Willie, how about you sign for 8.8, just like Timo Meyer? You both got 40 goals. I think that makes, I think signing him under 9 million is a steal for the Leafs. But if you've got Matthews now thinking, as it's rumored, that he's thinking, okay, maybe I go 8 years at 12.7 or 13 or whatever. I'm still the highest paid guy in the league. It's over $100 million. I'll never be broke in my life. Family, generational wealth, blah, blah, blah. Like, I want to win. I want to leave some money on the table. If you get, you reverse the past of Dubas and you get some of these guys to play ball, not necessarily team discounts, like Austin Matthews, if he's making more than McDavid and McKinnon anyways, just because his time's up, that does kind of make sense. So I think if I'm Brad Treliving, I'm saying, hey, Willie, you're number 88. Let's sign you for 8.8, just like Timo Meyer. And I think that's a steal. I think he's probably going to command, most likely he'll command 9 times 8 or 7 years, just depending on, like his position in the roster, etc. And I think he does deserve a pay bump from like he's like 6.9 million or something, so pretty damn close to 7 million. So it'd be a 2 million raise over a long-term period, hopefully. And they're kicking the tires a lot with San Jose and Toronto. I know they were trying to get in on the Tavares sweepstakes back in the day, and he wanted to go to Toronto. You never know. Like if he puts his no move on the line, he's got 2 years left. Like maybe Toronto eats some of that salary. I still think he's great, and I still think he probably would not want to move to like a non-competing team. I think you gotta trade one of these guys. So like if I know EK's name keeps coming up with Toronto, linked to Toronto, and who knows, they could be also talking about like Logan Couture or Vlasic for like maybe a trade deadline type acquisition if the team, based on like the Sharks are definitely not going to be competing for the Stanley Cup for a couple of years now at least. But they're solid. They're coming probably like 2-3 years as their window's going to open up like New Jersey. I see New Jersey. I hear a lot about Hellebuck and stuff, but I think one of the core guys has to go like either, it's like it seems to be Marner or Willie, and maybe they just trade EK65 straight up for one of those two guys. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a huge Sharks fan. I would just hate to see EK go. It's business, nothing personal. He's like probably got a nice house in San Jose and in Los Gatos or whatever, the Cat. I drove up when I was in San Jose. I drove around there, and it was such a nice area. It's beautiful up in the mountains there. It's really cool. But yeah, he's like bought a place. He's got 4 more years left on his deal, and I totally agree with Greer saying like, forget about it. We're not eating 50% of EKs. Like we're not giving this guy away. He's a freaking 3-time Norris Trophy. So I would say, if the Leafs are realistic in this, they're giving one of their core guys to San Jose, like back, and maybe they're considering something for like, if they're looking at another defenseman like a Carlson. I don't even know who it would be. But a lot of trades have surprised me so far. They've been pretty interesting. A lot of guys just giving people, like people just being given away for salary just because the cap's so crunched. So the last thing on the cap thing, and just, playing into Matthews wanting to be the highest paid player, potentially, most likely scenario, and Willie wanting, what he's worth. It's like people say, oh, the cap could be going up, but like, what if next year rolls around and it doesn't go gangbusters and the cap doesn't go up hardly at all, right? So it's like, I always think you can't predict, it's like predicting the weather, like with these meteorologists. They don't know. It's like they're going to talk about it all day long because people tune in and they're always wrong, but like, not always wrong, but like, who cares if they're actually right? So it's like, I see with Bettman and the salary cap, I believe they want two more games on the schedule, and they want 84 games. They're like, okay, they're going to dangle the carrot. I sort of see this as a possibility. They'll dangle the carrot for the 2024 season. They'll be like, hey guys, give us two more games for the NHLPA. And maybe we'll take a couple preseason, but more box office, more popcorn, more hot dogs, more sodas, more beers, blah blah blah. Yeah, so I see the salary cap, they're going to dangle that carrot again. And if the NHLPA stands strong, they don't want to do it. They might just increase the cap another million. Like, everybody's predicting, oh, it's going to go up to like 100 million in a couple years, and that justifies the now. But I think always just ground yourself in the present and the reality of this is now. You're signing now. You can bet on yourself and do a short-term deal, which will piss off the fans and probably your teammates. Or you can take that long-term guaranteed money and just be happy, that you're an amazing NHLer, you're a good team guy, and you're going for the win versus the money. Like, I mean, yeah, like, how much money do these guys really need? But it's not me. Like, everybody's entitled to, get their bag, as they say. So just one more thing on the salary cap potentially increasing, or the carrot that they'll dangle for the NHLPA. I had an idea, and I thought of like sort of these like home series. If and sort of like gear up the NHL games around concerts and things on the off days. So like, let's say, the Sharks are at the Blues or something, like, like, just because it's the Blues, it's like a blues festival, in between, at the arena, or like, some like music hall or whatever, there's a concert and they can get a VIP booth, or on one of their off nights, and potentially you do like three games in a row in St. Louis. You're the Sharks, you're visiting. Maybe you have 2 days off between one of the games. Maybe you do like one game, 2 days off, then like a back-to-back, and then you fly out that evening. You've now done three games in one city, and maybe all teams won't get their home ice advantage or whatever, and maybe that's looked at as unfair or whatever. But I also look at, it's expensive to fly these corporate jets all over the place, right? So why not plan this thing a little better? Maybe it's like 1 year you have a different home advantage against a certain team. And if you coordinate these kind of home stands around other events, the players can enjoy a lifestyle where they have, a few days off to kind of unwind, and then you get back to business. And, like I said, you can do a game, 2 days off, and then a back-to-back. So you get three games over a 5-day period. You fly out at the end of that, and you can really start to compress the schedule down. I'm not saying like play as many games as like a baseball team, but you can start to limit the travel, the miles on the jet, so to speak, and flying back and forth to these cities. And it seems like a really hectic lifestyle for, and they make big money for that, so I'm sure they're not complaining. But I think they can do some of that, the home stands, to kind of improve the schedule a little bit, squeeze a couple more games, get a few more dollars to increase the salary cap. Then all these teams aren't just giving away guys basically for like a 6th-round pick. I think that was the Kevin Hayes one, which was a real head scratcher. And just like doing salary dumps, like Taylor Hall, he's a 1st-round draft pick, first overall, I think. So it's like, holy crap, like they basically give him away, and he could be helping light the lamp for Bedard all year long next year, right? So good on Chicago for leveraging you know, their tankathon, to get Bedard, and now they can just load up, you know, on all these people dumping for Cap. So, Cap Space 101. Hopefully you enjoyed. Catch you on the next one.